Hi, welcome to my channel, dear nail friends. Here I'm going to show you a video of how I remove acrylic from my silicone practice hand without soaking in acetone. And then I'll show you how I get this ready for the next set. So I don't like to soak in acetone. I just think it's a waste of acetone unless I need to completely remove the acrylic all the way down to the tip that's glued onto this hand. And I just really don't want to do that. I don't like doing the steps of gluing the nails every time. Also, I just like to do it this way because this is kind of the way we do it, like in real life. You know, if there's a change of color or a change of design or a change of shape of the nail, we really just go and remove the bulk of the acrylic all the way down till it's very thin, and then, you know, we could go ahead and just leave a thin layer. So as you saw earlier, I just start with removing stones and bling if you have any. Once I get over that, I just grab my straight nail clipper, and that's just a preference that it's a straight nail clipper. And I just first make a small cut on the corner of the nail, and it basically just, you know, breaks off. And it breaks off because I don't use tips. I use forms. So when you use forms, the nails just clip off really easily. As you can see right here, that's thick because that's the center of the nail. And yeah, so once I'm done cutting the length of the nails, you know, the free edge is very raggedy and thick. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my Young Nails coarse bit, and you could use any coarse bit or any bit that you use to remove a gel polish. And I'm going to set my e-file to, I think it's about 8 to 10,000 or maybe even 12,000 RPM, but I think I'm in the range of between 8 and 10,000 RPM. I really can't tell because my e-file doesn't have numbers, but you definitely don't want to go over 15,000, that's for sure. But when you're using a coarse bit to remove stuff like this, you want to go fast. On the e-file, you do not want to go under 8,000 RPMs because really coarse bits work better when you're going fast. And again, I'm going fast because I'm removing product, and this is not the natural nail. So here we go. I'm just gonna use this safety bit, which I really love, especially if you're new with the e-file, because with the safety bit, it just helps you not cut, you know, the client's cuticle, especially when you're going close to the cuticle. So I totally recommend a safety bit if you're new or if you're just not feeling very confident about your e-file skills yet. So yeah. So as you could see, I'm just gonna go ahead and here, straight. I'm just gonna go straight. This is the other reason I like this bit, because you'll see in a minute, like I said, the nail is still thick and it's raggedy at the free edge where I cut it. So when I use this bit, it helps me, you know, straighten out the free edge. I do have another bit that I'm going to use shortly to reduce bulk, but when I use that bit, I can't use it on the free edge like I can this bit. So you can just use whatever bit or whatever you use to remove that gel layer, and yeah, we're just gonna remove it. And again, this is another way to practice using your e-file. If we just go ahead and soak this, you won't be able to practice using your e-file. So I'm always looking for opportunities to practice. Here you go. This is what I'm talking about. You have to hold the e-file straight down, like perpendicular to the finger, and then just go across like you saw earlier. I'll show you again in a minute. And that way it just straightens out the free edge so you're not filing away with your hand. So like I said, there is going to still be bulk. The most bulk on these nails are actually like around, you know, the stress area, of course, because that's where we put more product. So yeah, I like to do this because, you know, I glued the nail tips a while ago, and actually they've stayed on this hand now, and I've done a lot of removal of acrylic, and the nails are still glued on. At the beginning, when I first glued the nails on, a few nails did fall off a few times, but now I don't know, maybe I did something different. But this is a red iguana hand, like I said, and they do sell the practice nail primer and the glue. Now when I first bought the hand, it's a big investment, this hand. It's not cheap, and I did not want to buy the glue or the primer. I just bought the fingertips, and I was like, I'll just be fine. But actually, if you buy this hand and you do not glue the tips, you're gonna struggle to file by hand, and you're gonna struggle to file with the e-file, because the nails will just keep falling off, and the whole purpose of this hand is to practice. So I really recommend, if you're gonna invest in a hand like this and you're already gonna dish out the money, go ahead and buy the nail primer. It's a special primer, and the glue, and just stick the nails on. That's the best thing you could do. Okay, so here I changed the bits to I think it's called the Turbinator, and it's also from Young Nails. This is a super coarse bit, and I love it because it's great for removing bulk. Oops, you have to be careful there. This is great for removing bulk, and again, I'm doing the same speed. I'm going probably between 8 and 10,000 RPMs, and this bit is terrible to even out the free edge. That's why I use it second, I guess. So right at this moment, I'm really focused on just removing the bulk of acrylic, to the point where we're just gonna leave a thin layer of acrylic that's attached to the plastic nail that's glued to this hand. So yeah, I mean, it takes about the same time. You'll see it takes about 20 minutes to remove acrylic like this. And, you know, if you want it perfect, like it could take about 15-20 minutes. And soaking is the same or more, because you have to soak, you know, for 20 minutes and then start scraping off, you know, the acrylic, and then go back and clean it, and back and forth. And like I said, I just don't like to use acetone that much. If I could avoid it, it's really drying. The only reason I would use acetone on a client would be if they definitely want to take off the acrylic nails completely and they don't plan on having acrylic nails for a while. Then yes, of course, we're going to soak the nails off. But even then, I would reduce the acrylic, like what you're seeing, all the way till they're thin acrylic layer, until there's a thin acrylic layer. And then at that point, I would either soak or, you know, soak acrylic acetone in cotton to remove the thin layer of acrylic. So here we just have a thin layer of acrylic. I'm just brushing it off. Now I'm going with a cuticle bit, and I reduced the e-file to 3,000 RPM. So anytime you're working close to the cuticle like this, or close to touching the new growth of the nail, you definitely do not want to use a coarse bit. You want to use a diamond bit, or a bit that's made for the natural nail, or a bit that's made for the cuticle area. So, and you definitely want to go slower, because you don't want to burn the client. So when it's a smoother bit, if you go too fast, it could heat up. So here, I'm just going in. I just want to clean out my cuticle area. So when I apply my new set of acrylic, it's just clean and crisp. And yeah, just going there, removing all that color that I might have missed. I now, again, 3,000 RPMs. Here we go with my arbor band. This is a 150 band, and this is just to smooth out and finish up you know, the removal. This is optional, you don't have to do this, but I like to do it. I just like to have a smooth, you know, clean, fresh start. And you know, I try to keep the nail, it's probably like 1 millimeter thick, and that's about 1/32 of an inch. So it's a very thin layer, but perfect enough to, you know, here I'm just removing a piece of acrylic that will stick there. But just thin, and it's just perfect for applying a new set over this hand. And I'm going to show you how I use forms on a silicone hand. If you have a silicone hand and have tried to use forms, you know that it's really hard for those forms to stay stuck. And on my next video, I will show you my tips or my trick to practicing with forms on a silicone hand. So here I'm just cleaning off the dust. You could also just get up and wash this hand under running water. No soap needed. You don't need any soap. You don't want to use soap actually, because it could affect the it doesn't go well with product, right? You don't want no soap residue. But here I'm just brushing it away, making sure it's as dust free as possible. So yeah, look at this. So then my final step is I just like to grab my 150 file, hand file, and just give it a final perfecting touch. You know, just kind of rounding and shaping that free edge so that when I put my forms on, they just fit perfectly. And again, I just imagine that, you know, I'm practicing and that this is a real client. So I try to do all the steps that I would think I would do with the real client when I'm either doing a nail change, a design change, or a removal of acrylic. So here I'm just doing my final touches, and that's just shaping it. But yeah, the bulk is gone. The nail's very thin. It just has a very thin layer of acrylic at this point, and it'll be ready soon enough for a next set. Here, this is what it looks like. It's great. You could totally use acetone to remove, like I said, but every time you remove the acetone, you have to use more glue, more primer, more plastic nails, and then glue it, and then wait for the glue to set, and then start all over again. I glued these nails, these plastic nails, this last time a few months ago, and I practice almost every other day, if not every day. And the nails have not fallen off yet, but like I said at the beginning, they might. Okay, here I'm just grabbing a little alcohol like you would normally after, you know, filing away, and just cleaning off the nail, getting all that dust residue off. Yeah, and it just gives me a sense like I'm just practicing and practicing and practicing. So when I'm doing it in real life, you know, it's more ingrained in my head, you know, of how to do this. Yeah, so I'm just cleaning the whole hand, because if you want to apply forms, of course you want no dust anywhere. So just go ahead and clean it all. Again, like I said, you could also just go and put this under the water and wash it. That's no problem. You don't even need to use soap. And yeah, it's ready. This is the hands. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. Let me know if you have any comments.